Ensuring access for all to energy like electricity and gas for cooking is part of the 7th goal of the Sustainable Development Goals known as SDGs, and the 3-day gathering in Kigali is currently assessing how far the world has come in achieving that goal, and the objective being that it is attained by 2030. While inaugurating the forum, President Paul Kagame asserted that the COVID-19 pandemic has slowed down the process of achieving this objective because currently more than 40% of the African population still has no access to electricity.
Over the past decade, significant progress has been achieved toward the 7th Sustainable Development Goal on affordable and clean energy for all. Nevertheless, the COVID pandemic has reversed many of the gains. Today, in Africa, more than 500 million people still do not have access to electricity. This energy crisis coincides with the threat of climate change, to which our continent is especially vulnerable. Switching to renewable energy is crucial. That is why creating an enabling environment to attract investment in sustainable energy is so important.
While addressing participants, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called on all countries to adhere to the use of renewable energy sources because in addition to protecting the earth and its inhabitants, the use of clean energy provides 3 times more employment opportunities compared to what air pollution does. He also reminded development countries to implement their commitments in the face of climate change.
Closing the energy access gap and ending energy poverty is crucial to delivering on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It is also fundamental to tackling the climate crisis. To limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees, we need to accelerate the deployment of renewable energy and transform energy production. In many countries, solar and wind are already the cheapest source of energy, and the renewable energy sector generates 3 times as many jobs as the fossil fuel sector. We need to shift to sustainable energy systems everywhere. The addiction to fossil fuels must end, starting with coal by 2030 in OECD countries and 2040 everywhere else. And we must leave no one behind. Developed countries must honor their promise to provide $100 billion a year for climate action in developing countries. Let us pursue an agenda that is good for both people and planet and build a sustainable, just and equitable energy future for all.
The meeting comes at a time when countries around the world are in the process of recovering from the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic is another problem that adds to the problem of climate change and its effects, which has been difficult for the world and Africa in particular. President Paul Kagame challenged developed countries to increase their support to African countries in the face of the effects of climate change.
By integrating sustainable energy in pandemic recovery plans, we can accelerate the transition to clean power. But the transition must be just and equitable. This means it should align with Africa's development priorities and aspirations to ensure no one is left behind. At the same time, there needs to be increased financing to developing countries to support climate adaptation in line with international agreements. Africa cannot carry the burden alone, especially given that its emissions did not create the climate emergency. However, Africa will be part of the solution.
More than 1,500 people from around the world attended the conference in person, while more than 500 participants attended virtually. Rwanda is the first African country to host the forum. Isabelle Masozera, RwandaTV News.